Thank you. Americans are all too familiar with the details of the mass migration disaster we experienced during the 4 years of the Biden administration, when about 9 million illegal border crossers and parolees were allowed to enter the country. Our foreign-born population has spiked to the highest point in history at just over 53 million people, and the highest percentage of our population ever, almost 16%. But not all of the newly arrived illegal aliens were caught and released at the border. Many arrived on visas obtained under more lenient rules put in place by the Biden administration. Under these policies, new temporary visa issuances went up by 25% to 11 million in 2024. New issuances of short-term B1 and B2 visitors visas, which is the largest and most overstay-prone category, went up 40% to 9 million in 2024 alone. Our visa process is improved, but still far from secure. Thanks to the more lenient policies, which include interview waivers, stretching eligibility criteria, and generally prioritizing swift approval over diligence in vetting, the visa programs have become much more vulnerable to frivolous and outright fraudulent applications. Not only does this often disadvantage qualified applicants who have to wait longer to receive visas, the fraud and abuse undermine public support and, worst of all, allow bad actors who are public safety or national security threats to gain access to our country. These risks are not minor or unreliable, and frankly, I think it's insensitive and irresponsible to trivialize these incidents that have occurred as a result of visa vetting failures. It's insensitive to the victims and irresponsible for policymakers to do so. One new example of a visa vetting mistake is Behzad Nejad, an Iranian man who was given a student visa in 2016 to attend the University of Texas. His status was terminated soon after he was arrested for domestic violence, but it took another year for him to be ordered removed, and ICE finally picked him up just this week in possession of a firearm on top of it. Then there's Abdullah Hassan, who came on a visa in 2022 and settled in Falls Church, attended George Mason, and was arrested last December for promoting violence against Jews online and planning a mass casualty attack on Jews in New York. Yes, it helps to have more interior enforcement, but the visa issuance process and the programs themselves need to be reformed to sift out more unqualified applicants before they get here. In 2023 alone, there were more than 18,000 entries of Iranian citizens on NIVs, including more than 10,000 on B1, B2 visas, more than 5,000 entries on student visas, and more than 1,000 on exchange visas. This is just way too big a haystack for ICE to have to sift through when there is a potential threat, as we have now. The problem is partly one of leadership to change the culture of travel facilitation at the State Department, but Congress needs to step in too by enacting statutory requirements for visa interviews, which are critical to evaluating applicants, and establishing consequences for overstaying, both for the person and the sponsor, and by providing resources for fraud protection. But it's not just a processing problem. We have to make sure that applicants are actually eligible for the visas they seek, and some of the visa categories, especially on the permanent visa side, are so conceptually flawed and have such inadequate statutory criteria that even when adjudicators are empowered to try to prevent fraud, they are almost powerless to do so. And among the most problematic and ripe for congressional action are two categories where state and local government entities are the gatekeepers to establishing eligibility: the U visa and the special immigrant juvenile category. The latter in particular needs urgent attention from Congress, especially in light of the hundreds of thousands of minors who've come in the last 4 years. We know we have a problem when applications spike as they have in the SIJ category, with more than 50,000 a year now. And when the specialty law firms are advertising all over social media, offering young illegal aliens who have no other path to stay here the option to claim that they were abused, neglected, or abandoned by one parent, even long ago, claims that are nearly impossible to verify, even if anyone tried. Criminal histories can be excused or may be unavailable to adjudicators if they were committed as a juvenile, making this the amnesty program of choice for MS-13 gang members, among others. And as with the U visa or some other programs, under Biden rules, the applicants get the work permit and protection from deportation long before the file is ever reviewed. Thanks again for the opportunity to discuss these issues.